All right, so Sharon has asked for a demonstration of a couple of different things, but mainly the third pigeon that we did in class the other night. In the sequence we went through, and we did actually what's called Tangled Pigeon 1, and I'll show that to you because I don't know that we've actually done that one either, but basically it's, the pigeon as we know it, but then we hold one hand on the floor and we wrap the other one around the waist. There are 3 stages in this that lead progressively into more deeper back bends. So it's a wrap around the waist, it's one hand on the floor or a block, and I don't have my block right now, they're over there, but I'm gonna use this pillow. So that was the first of the 4. Now, so this is how I would handle it in recordings going forward. So that's the other piece that I want to instruct here. It's that we're gonna what was I gonna say? I would, as I instruct the class, if I'm doing the sequence, I would literally say, watch me first. And this is where you would stop, watch the demo, and then we'll pick it up and flow it as we normally do. Whether you choose to stop or another is your choice, but I will give you that opportunity. So that was the first of the 4. The other ones were on the back. And so on the back, we are crossing one leg over the thigh. So that's the first pigeon, or the second one of the 4, right? So it's this, crossing the leg over. And then the third one is to extend the leg up with the hand behind the thigh, pushing the thigh back forward into the hands. The hands are lightly, they're just there for a little bit of support for that leg and for the feedback of the hands behind the thigh. You can feel that push of the thigh forward into the hands and the lengthening up toward the ceiling. The low back is pushing into the ground. You can see how my back just got a little flatter there. Now, the 4th pigeon was to either work with, once again, the foot on the floor, drawing now the shin towards the chest.
Okay.
This is the 4th one. I think this is the one you were needing, Sharon, right? So relaxing the ribs down, relaxing the shoulders back, pushing the low back down. And again, the hands are here for a little bit of feedback, a little bit of guidance. There's no pulling the leg toward the chest here. The effort in the arms needs to be very minimal, like you're literally holding an infant in your arms here. You wouldn't be grasping that child unless you were like, in a fearful situation, but we're not here, right? We're just laying on the back. Now, the other option here in this 4th pigeon is to, instead of have the foot on the floor, to lengthen that other leg out fully. But if you're having difficulty, keeping the low back down fully and flat, then, the foot on the floor is a better move. So you can release the hip of the leg that's, close to your chest. Does that make sense, Sharon?
Yes.
Great. So that hopefully will explain that for everybody. Good. And so when you go back and do that, Sharon, hopefully, and with those additional cues, which I believe I didn't speak to as much in the original sequence, that might be helpful too.
Well, but I also was laying down, so I wasn't watching.
True. And I'm going to.
So that was part of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing it like with my leg down. I straightened the other leg, and then I was like this. Like in a 4 laying down, which didn't feel awful. I had a feeling that's not what she's saying.
That, what, that's a way to do it. Let me feel that in my body right now. And that's kind of like a reclined half lotus. That's what that would be called, more of a reclined half lotus. Whereas it becomes pigeon, which, and I know, and maybe we'll do this next week, Sharon. I know you love when we do these like pigeon 4 ways, or we do the same pose in different planes, where when we do like standing pigeon, and that, I think that was in a class
We did that against the wall or
Yeah,
something.
we did it against the wall or something, but yeah, this is the same move, right? It's just in a standing up, and it challenges the body. You have to recruit your musculature and your and be with the pose in different ways when you also change the geometry. So kind of cool. That's what's fun about yoga, and that's what it teaches us, right? It teaches us how to be in situations that are how to be in situations in different situations in different situations. You know what I mean? And give us those skills to balance or to support ourselves or to because something on the floor would seemingly be easy, but it can actually be really funky, because if you don't have your back down firmly, there could be some yuck. So there's that. All right. I hope you got what you needed with that. And to speak to that, for, like I said, for everybody. So as we create these videos going forward, for everybody to use, going over these things is welcome in class, or is before class or outside of class. Like, I'm happy to do that. And and that's always been the case, and even more so now. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to minimize you, Sharon, so you are not, well, I think it's okay. You don't care. You don't care. All right. So we're going to actually start in dangle tonight. I forgot to say that. So I will make sure that I send that aviso out with this video. Grab whatever prop you're going to use. So with dangle, I usually encourage the use of a very firm prop, such as my bolster. So I have a really big bolster. I'm lucky because I do have this. If you don't have one of these, it ain't a bad thing to have. Just saying. But yeah, you've got your prop there, your special prop for your heels, Sharon. So get that. And if you have a very firm pillow or lots of blankets that you can wrap up, like a nice heavy one, you can use that. Have your feet hip distance, and then the prop is going to be on the thighs, so you can drape the torso over. Now, I'm doing this in the middle of my mat. If this is not doable for your back or your back of your legs, take your buttocks, and actually, I think this is a better move. I've got my buttocks against the closet door here with my knees, good at that. So my butt can maintain contact with that door, that wall, whatever is a supportive part of your house that is behind you. And that way you can put the buttocks back and you can drape forward with the knees bent. My hamstrings are super open, especially at this time of the day. So find that space to relax over and just let the arms literally dangle. Let the crown of the head lengthen. And, draw the chin in toward the chest. Now, remember, this is a yin class. So here we want to let the muscle tissues become soft. So if you're finding tension here, bend the knees, let the feet push toward the floor to find that softness and the support you need to be soft. Because in yin, the 3 principles are: we hold for time, more than the normal breath count in a yan practice. So we hold poses from anywhere from 3 to 7 minutes. And we hold them at a soft edge. So again, on that scale of 1 to 10, we want to be no more than a level 5. We want to be moderate in order to hold the poses for the length of time. We want to be simple. Tonight's class, like I said, is going to be a chakra flow, which will target all the chakras. And these first couple of chakras will be the focus of the first few poses. And here we're working with Muladhara, which is the root chakra. And that's located at the pelvic floor, the tailbone area. I am, quote unquote. This is the I am energy. And when open and non-restricted, we feel grounded, safe, supported. But when we're anxious and fearful, this area feels tight and grasping, edgy, controlling. The color here is a deep red. Allow the muscles to drape. I'm going to hold for maybe 5 more seconds here. Stay with your breath. And then you can stay at the wall if you're working there to come into a squat. So come down into a squat and maybe take your prop underneath your pelvis. Bring your knees quite bent with your feet on the floor. If you're working at the wall, again, you just, separate the feet more if you need to. Come into your squat and let your back firmly press against that wall. And, keeping something under the pelvis is what's going to help you stay with the pose for the amount of time that is needed here without feeling panicked. Which, these Hershey poses target that root chakra, which is where we can, if we're anxious about doing something, it's going to get tight and we're going to start getting panicked. So this is it could be pretty triggering. But these shapes are, and we want to hold these. So one of the third principle of Yin is that we hold these poses in stillness. So again, that's why we want to be moderate. We can be still. So each pose can become its own mini meditation. And you're free to use your own techniques here in order to be still. And examples that I came up with as I worked on this sequence was you can do a countdown as you breathe into the chakra where we're working. You can use Brahmari, which is that humming. And then this one's going to be a really low, deep. But whatever you like using, use it as a way to come back to this area. Right now, the root chakra. When you become distracted. And it's a way to bring the mind into a pointed awareness. And we're going to hold for just a few more moments. This is a pretty intense shape. Breathe toward the tightness. Maybe use Brahmari, maybe use a count, or whatever keeps you interested in what you're doing. We're about to come out of the pose, so you can release the hands down and sit back slowly, letting your prop move to the side if you're sitting on a prop, so you can come all the way down. Coming onto the prop in a way that you are actually on the edge. And, you can take a rolled up blanket here. So rolling up a blanket, so coming into caterpillar with the blanket underneath the backs of the knees is essential. Another option is to take another blanket, which might not need to be rolled up so much, but taking another blanket and placing it so it's underneath the backs of the ankles, the Achilles heel area. I didn't used to use this, but it feels pretty darn good. But this is a good way to be for caterpillar. So on my, you can see that most of my cushion is kind of, it looks like I'm sliding off, and that's what you want. So come on to into this position. And you can just tuck the chin. That can be your forward fold here. And I'm gonna actually excuse myself to grab my blocks. I did not bring them over, but I'm going to bring them over now. Because the blocks are good places to rest the arms if you want to place them on either side of the body. It's just the heaviness is too much, and this is actually just a better position. Eventually you can maybe take those blocks and stack them and come into a forward fold. Here's a soft way to hold this pose. Maybe gradually moving into lower and lower versions, your choice, as the pose unwinds and your body, those connective tissues in the body unwind. And here we want to round the back so the muscles can relax around the spine, rather than keeping the back straight, which requires a muscular engagement we don't use in yin. The backs of the legs also receive a stretch. We are still going after the literal root of the body, the base, your legs, the energetic connection to the ground, rootedness. Continue to use the technique you've selected to maintain and entrain your awareness in this area. And it could be just that you're, envisioning that red color to breathe in and out of the base of the spine, the pelvic floor, the perineum. Using that breath count if you want, or barometry. Noticing that the shoulders may start to feel tight, or other places in the body that are not the base of the spine or the low back. It could be the, any place in the body. It could be your jaw. Relax, whatever you notice is feeling active. And then to come out of the pose, just, push down. You can push your hands on your shins or out on either side of the thighs on the ground. And then just bring both legs in. Use your hands to make that move. Coming into that hammock, reverse table kind of thing. We aren't going to go into a full reverse table, lifting the hips. Just let your feet windshield wiper your knees. And whatever, maybe it's more of a European car. Maybe it's a wiggle. And then we're going to come into butterfly. So again, support the ankles or the knees to bring the legs into a diamond shape. So I'm going to, again, kind of support my ankles. That's a little high, so I'm going to reduce the height of the prop I created for my knees. And then I'm going to take I'm going to take my blocks under one knee, because one of my legs likes to open up really, really wide in a way that doesn't feel beneficial really fast in this practice. So propping it up more than the other one is my move. You do what's right for you. For butterfly, and because we're in yin, having their legs in more of a diamond position might work for you, rather than the up close to the groin shape. And yeah, Sharon, that's really good. Just having your arms on your blocks in the center, that might work as you forward fold to any degree. But keep your pose between 1 and 5 in terms of making it moderate, soft. And in this shape, we actually start to move up the chakra chain to Svadhisthana. This is the second chakra. It's located below the navel center in the sacrum area. And the energy here is I feel. And this is the seat of creativity. It is the place of the ovaries in women and the uterus. The place of the bladder. Place of digestion. Bladder and intestines in men and women. So it's a place of letting go, which is part of the allowing process. This is a very receptive area of the body. But in order to receive, we must be able to release. And it is a watery element. The element here is water, whereas it is the ground element that is the feature of the root chakra. And this watery element is in contrast to the groundedness of the root. The color here is orange. Use your technique to become aware of your energy in this area. Or be willing to work with another way to focus attention on this spot. And then once more, just shift back in the hands to sit up and extend the legs wider into dragonfly. Again, supporting the backs of the knees, either with blocks or with blankets, or again, putting something underneath that. I'm actually going to put this in a way that I can bunch it up under my knee and then also extend the blanket so it's underneath my heel or my Achilles. Same with my other one. I got another little blanket. This isn't much of a blanket. It's just a little covering. Creating enough that I can have support underneath my joints. Coming into that forward fold, and again, now I've freed up my blocks here. So, maybe a forearms on the blocks is enough. And with the forward folding aspect, although I haven't spoken to it yet, we're actually technically also working Ajna Chakra, which is the brow point. Throughout all of these poses, it's included, and I'll get to a little bit about that shortly. About why it's important and its connection to the others. But here in Dragonfly, we're still targeting the inseam of the leg, that Svadhisthana, orange chakra. And there may be a bone on bone sensation at the hip crease. To find ease, allow the muscles and the bones to descend down into the floor. This creates space in our creative center. And there's nothing to do here but drape and fold toward the floor. Letting go, allowing. This is the energy of this chakra. Letting go, allowing. Use your technique to draw greater intelligence into this area and in any part of the body that is not this area where you are feeling a great amount of sensation. We do this in order to own that sensation and soften it with every exhale. Let's bring now the hands to the floor to sit up just enough to gently draw the left leg in toward the right leg. Again, you might want to support the outside of the left knee. Lift it if that's going to keep you from feeling the sensation too fast. And fold over to any degree the right leg. And maybe it's using that block to, again, place the forearms so it's not, you know, this big move all of a sudden. And here we're working with the Manipura, the third chakra, which is located above the navel center. And below the rib cage. Its color is yellow. And its element is fire. This is the quote unquote city of jewels. It's a literal treasure chest as it is connected to our willpower. This is the I do energy, drive, motivation. And it supports the heart above it and carries out heart desires. And gently take the hands to the floor and use that support of the push down to sit up. And let's do the other leg. So extend that left leg out gently. And any of these moves, we move very carefully because we are working the joints. So now draw the right leg in. You can help it with the hands. And support that right knee in any way that you need to. Make sure the left leg has its support as well under the back of the ankle or the knee for sure, the back of the ankle maybe. Folding toward that left leg. Might not be a different, it may be less folding this side than the other or more. I'm checking on that. Doesn't need to be exactly the same. There's no need. There's no real prescription here. And there's no need to actually, quote unquote, do anything to activate and work with this chakra. No need to reach or strive. We just let go and dial the attention and the breath toward this area, right above the navel, right below the ribs. And again, maybe focusing on that yellow color. Working with the breath count in and out. Working with Brahmari, that into that area on the exhale. You do it the way that keeps you the most connected. Now gently take your hands once more to the floor to sit up in the spine. Gather that left leg into the body. And we're going to shift on to the belly. There. Coming into Sphinx. So being careful, taking your time. I often will pull it because I do a lot of my yin while I read in the morning or while I'm reading for school or something. So sometimes I'll just place a cat on my back, which happens a lot. Just place a prop under my chest because that feels good to me. That feels supportive. And sometimes I practice with my palms up. Feel free to do either palms up or palms down. And just allow the shoulders to ride up and the chin to tuck. And just let the thighs fall toward and just be really drawn into the floor. The front of the pelvis. We'll work with anahata here, anahata, I should say. This is the heart chakra. And it's located behind the sternum, between the shoulder blades. The color is green. And anahata actually translates, it's a Sanskrit word that translates to the unbroken or unstruck. And further, it's the unstruck sound of love. I've always been really curious, but what the hell does that mean? And I'm only finally getting it. And this is it is unbroken because even when the heart breaks, love remains and has the opportunity to become bigger through the break. It breaks because there's so much love, and that can never be destroyed no matter what the mind says. And it's unstruck because there is no telling from where that love originates. There's no definitive source that makes the love. And love, like matter, is neither created nor destroyed. And in this chakra, we cultivate love, compassion, and joy. And it is actually an air element, which is attributed to logic and thinking and wouldn't be necessarily equated with love. But when we have our minds right, love flourishes. When the mind is confused, confounded, or entrapped in defensive patterns, that is where love is perceived as gone. Where hurt briefly trumps the purity of love, and love becomes tainted and as warped as the lens the thinking mind presents. So this fourth chakra dispenses and integrates our spiritual understanding of love and compassion and the connection of love to everything we encounter. And just like air, love is within and all around and is essential for life. So if you come out of this pose, if you're using a prop, you can either just, place the forearms down and rest the head, or remove the prop entirely and come into crocodile briefly to let the low back reset with the forearms on top of one another or the palms. I like the forearms because the next pose we're going to move to is going to be prone eagle. So in prone eagle, you begin to slide one arm on top of the other. So now the arms are crisscrossed. And from here, you could just bow the head forward. Now, if that's too much, just slide the arms a little more back so you're making more of a box shape with the arms. Palms are down or up, depending on what feels okay in your shoulders. So, a box shape is good, letting the shoulders ride up, letting the head relax, chin tucked. Or to go deeper, you're coming into like a more of an X shape with the arms, palms are up. And really the head is resting. So I've got my right arm on top of my left. So my head is resting and I'm looking toward the left rather than a straight down. That feels weird on my face. So if I turn my head, that feels pretty good. And here you should feel of that bone on bone compression at the shoulder joint. And now we're working with Vishuddha, which is the fifth chakra, which is I speak. The color is blue, like a cerulean blue, sky blue. Hearing, speech, and truth are connected here. Below this chakra is the heart, and the base of the sternum is actually the foundational support of the neck and head, where Vishuddha is located. And this heart base is the seat of speech and hearing. It's the supportive foundation. So although the chakra is technically in the throat, the heart is what's underneath that. This is a pretty intense pose. So let's get ready to go to the other side. Gently slide the arms. And then from here, just take whatever arm is closest to you and change sides. Bring that arm over the body and then come to the other side. It might be different here. It's a different side of the body. And again, just turning the face, resting the arms, resting the head on the arms. But it might be a different version that you do here because it is a different side of the body. When our mind is right, we hear one another better and take in the truth easily. And our heart wants to know. When our mind is right, we speak our truth, the truth of our hearts easily, and the give and take is healthy, lively, growing within us, around us, and in all we do. So to come out of this side, gently bring the arms back to that more box shape, and then slide both hands under the shoulders. Curl the pubic bone toward the floor a little bit, engage the buttocks, and use that engagement to help you lift up. To come into child's pose, bringing both knees underneath the pelvis and then shifting the hips way back, lengthening the arms forward, resting the forehead on the floor. Or if the floor is too far away, you can use a block or a pillow under the forehead. And here we work the sixth chakra. The focus here is that purple color often associated at the brow point. Sometimes you can, if you close your eyes, you can see it. It's a deep throbbing purple or deep, deep blue. And it's often seen when closing the eyes. And when we do Yoga Nidra, it's at this place where we focus when we're in the visualization. I see is the energy of this chakra. Ajna chakra is the name, and it is the seat of our imagination, insight, intuition. And like I said, we're working this chakra in all of the poses here because there's a bowing forward of the head. What is unique of this about this chakra is that it's either open or closed like a shade. And while the other chakras will also go offline, they won't completely close. They will be dim or partially work. But when this happens, it causes Ajna chakra to close. So if the other ones aren't working, Ajna doesn't work either. Which makes sense. We aren't very imaginative when the other energies of our bodies are out of whack. So in this practice, we're constantly working, even when we're not specifically, we are always working. I think some of these poses are familiar. We're constantly helping Ajna chakra to open by working the other ones. When we get to Shavasana, which we will do as Yoga Nidra tonight, we will work with the 7th chakra, which is I understand. And that is where we detach the ego. And this chakra actually hovers above the crown of the head like a halo. And it is our connection to all that is bigger than us, our unity consciousness. So take a deep breath in and draw the arms back and come up onto the knees, and let's set up for Shavasana. And I'm going to stop the recording here. So you Shavasana for anyone who's not going on. I'll record Yoga Nidra.